This time, we want to talk about the most important text on your website. This is Section 3, Lecture 14, Tags and Markup. Here we go. Guys, we're here to talk about tags in your website. First, of course, a definition. Then I want to tell you about 3 different tags. One tag is called the description tag. It may be the most important text on your website. The next tag is keywords, the most famous. But what I'm going to tell you about keywords will probably surprise you a little bit. And we'll close with something called the alt tag. First, though, what's a tag? There are 2 parts to your web page. Of course, there's the part you can see. And then behind that, there's something called HTML code, Hypertext Markup Language. And that tells the computer where to put the pictures and what the title should be and so forth. And that is some really important stuff because that's what the search engines use when they're deciding where to place you on the search results. So, we have to have some really well-done tags if we want to have any opportunity to rank even for our own name. Perhaps the most important of these tags is called the description tag. You will find the description tag in the head section of your page, but it's easier just to Google the name of your company and see if it'll come up there. And what the text that comes behind the name that you've put up there, that's the text that is pulled from the description tag. It can be up to 165 characters, including spaces, and I never make mine quite that long. And it really needs to be compelling. Think about it for a second. You've got 3 or 4 different returns for you and your competitors. Folks are going to click on one that has compelling text. You need to give your searchers a reason to click on you instead of the guy next to you. And so you have to have a benefit, and that is called the description tag. Now, if you Google or search your company name and it comes up with some text that doesn't appear to have any compelling words to it, and the last couple of words, it's a sentence cut off, ... That means that Google's computers went through and simply pulled some random text off of your home page, and they're using that. In all probability, you do not even have a description tag. Next on our list is keywords. Now, keywords are important for a different reason, and it's going to surprise you. You see, the search engines no longer use keywords at all when ranking a page. So why do I want you to have keywords on your website? The reason is because it helps you and your web designer focus on what that page is about. And over time, web pages tend to drift. You'll have a menu page, and then you'll add this week's specials to it, and well, we need to put the specials up at the top and make them big, and pretty soon the page has lost the focus that it had when it started out. Also, keyword research will help you determine what it is your customers are looking for. By the way, have your web designer install Google Webmaster Tools on your site so that you know what Google and all the other search engines, by the way, think that your page is about. You might be surprised. Maybe you have a steakhouse and you want restaurant, of course, to be what folks are finding. The steakhouse restaurant in your town. Do you know maybe it says Black Angus more often than you realize, and that's what you're ranking for? It's kind of important. So you want to know what these keywords are. You want your page to be very focused. Each page is on its own separate subject. And don't worry about folks trying to find your specials or whatever it happens to be. If you think about it for a second, if someone clicks on a particular menu item across the top of your home page, that's the information they're looking for. That's what they want. These folks are self-selecting directing, and that is their question. Focus on that. And that's why I said, go ahead and put keywords on your page. The third and final tag that I wanted to tell you about is called the alt tag. And the alt tag, in reality, well, it serves Google as much as it does the web searcher, because they use that tag in something called Google Images. And Google Images is actually pretty much a listing of every photograph on the entire internet, and it's a searchable database. But the reason why you want to go ahead and use alt tags, these tags are in the body of your web page, by the way. The alt tags will help you and help Google determine what that page is about. Let's go back to our keyword example a minute ago, where you've got a steakhouse and you don't realize how often the word Black Angus comes up. You don't want Google to think you're a ranch. And that could happen. Remember, these are computers, not people. And so the photograph of the plate and the description in the alt tag will help the search engines not to list you as a ranch. And it can happen. It really can happen. You'll be surprised. Your web page probably ranks for things that you never imagined it would. Next, I want to tell you about something called markup or schema. Now, what is markup? Markup is a language used by databases to let them know what categories to classify things in. So you could have, for example, an organization, and beneath organization, maybe you have a local business, and under that, perhaps it's a real estate office. Under that, the founder. And there are, I don't know, maybe 150 of these tags, and they cover all kinds of things. Now, why is schema or markup important? Well, because the websites oftentimes are a little bit confusing to Google. For example, if you're a photographer, perhaps you take wedding pictures, and remember, the computer can't really see the pictures. They don't know you're a photographer. And if you start talking about the lovely bride, and here's another bride in a white dress, and I photographed this bride along the river, perhaps they think the website is all about brides and dresses, but you're a photographer. Schema helps with that. It helps Google and all the search engines classify each website. Now, does schema count towards your rankings, SERP, search engine results page? To be honest, I'm not sure. I have one friend, John, who swears that it does. He has added it to a client's website. He's a professional SEO, and he says that website just jumped up. Google, on the other hand, says it's not. Most people who add schema to websites say it is, and they use a little demonstration when they're talking about adding a website. And the way they do it is they show their clients the number one website in a particular category. Then they show them the website down at the bottom of the page, or maybe website number 15. And the idea is the first ranked website probably will have schema, and the website ranked much lower down probably will not. The problem I have with this theory is that if your website ranks number one, the odds are you've done all those tags that we were talking about just a moment ago, and you've done a lot of the things that we've talked about in videos like the home page and whatnot elsewhere in this series. So the website that ranks number 13 may have a number of mistakes that go well beyond simply not having schema. So it's hard for me to know for sure. However, having said that, there are some places where I do want you to use schema. For example, if you have a series of concerts or special events, it's very good to let Google know when these events are taking place, and you almost have to use markup in order to do that. Now, structured data is kind of a complex subject, and in fact, it's really probably outside the scope of this video series. But I do have some resources for you, and this will help you take a couple of evenings, go through these websites, and hopefully you'll start to have a grip on structured data if you decide to use it in your website. The first one I want to tell you about is called Schema.org. Schema.org has hundreds of tags. Not only that, They've got quite a bit of information describing how to use these tags. It's terribly important, and all the tags are broken down by categories so you can be sure you're using the correct tags inside your HTML. There's another tool I want to tell you about. It's called Google Developers Structured Data, and obviously it's inside Google Developers, but this is kind of cool if you're not a tag expert. You see, you can work your way down your web page and enter this data into this Google data page I'm talking about, and it will give you back the tags and the HTML you need to copy and paste right into your page. Very cool. When you're finished, you can go to the Structured Data Testing tool, also inside Google Developers, and it will tell you what Google can read. That's very cool because you know what you just entered, and if there's something that doesn't show up that you know you entered, that's a problem area, and you can go back and take a couple of shots until Google is able to read your structured data. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Next time, I've got one that's kind of cool for you. One of my favorite subjects, YouTube and video, and how it can affect you and your website ranking. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.